Unfortunately, I forgot my microphone, so this is what we're dealing with. Join me for another weekend leading up to my business launch. This weekend, I'm focusing on making some real progress with my comb. So in my first weekend diary, I started carving down my comb blocks to carve out the silhouette, but that's when I realized that the block was just way too thick, so I manually sawed it in half, which left me absolutely exhausted. So I decided to finish off Samson, my illustration, and start on 2 new illustrations in the next weekend diary. So now we're finally getting back to my comb. So the goal for this weekend is to completely finish carving out the outline for my comb, so both the silhouette and all of the little teeth as well. Let's get into it. So I'm just starting with continuing the curve of the handle and carving out the tight curve of the flares. Hand carving this is a very meticulous process, but it's the best and quickest way for me to carve out the fine details. There were spots on the end grain that were just too hard for me to carve, so I used some fine metal files to shape these end grain areas. This started to become a very meditative process, just like my drawings. I could just switch my brain off and take some time to breathe. Now you can start to see the sharp curves coming through. It's just a matter of continuing to refine them. Now that the silhouette is mostly cut out, I can finally start on the teeth. This is the exciting bit for me. It really starts to look like a comb. Using my template again, I'm just outlining where the teeth need to be. Ordinarily, you'd use a fine drill to drill holes right at the end of the teeth, and then use a saw to cut in between each tooth. I can only just saw to the end of the teeth and hope for the best, as I don't have a fine drill yet. I started by making just one cut to practice and then carved out the tooth gap. I need there to be enough even space for my little metal file to squeeze through. Once I can do that, then I can simply file out the middle of each of the teeth. I was very happy with this technique, so I just continued sawing and cutting out each tooth of the comb. Once this was done, I just needed to cut off the ends of the shorter teeth. Then it's just carving, filing, and sanding. This is where I need to take a break from the combs because Luke, my partner, and I are going to have a look at our possible new boat. Luke, as I mentioned in my first weekend diary, is a timber shipwright, so he helps me with all of the heavy machinery and all of that sort of stuff with my woodworking in between his busy days of building and repairing wooden boats. Naturally, part of our dream is to one day own a wooden boat, and Luke's found an opportunity that's just too good to turn down, so we're at least gonna go up and have a look. Whilst Luke was firing up the boiler and greasing the engine or whatever he needed to do, I thought I may as well make a start on another drawing. So this will be the 5th out of the planned 6. You saw a peek of the first one I completed earlier. I'll show you that in full soon. Once I've had enough of drawing, that grid really took me forever. I just continued with filing down my comb. That sound you can hear is the steam engine and the paddles hitting the water. This little darling boat is a paddle steamer and her name is Daisy. So at this point, I've finally finished building my website. At the time of editing this video, I've been able to add my collection to the site. So everywhere it says shop or new collection, it used to just be coming soon. So that's the only real change that I've made since this point. So the homepage, I focused on my collection, my message, and a little introduction about me. And this leads on to a little image carousel. This is just really noting when my launch is, who I am as an artist, and another little teaser as well. And then we've got, from here, I've popped in a little link to the upcoming collection, just with a little description of what the launch message is. So it's just where you ever lost is a collection to bring yourself back to the present moment. It's so easy to lose yourself in the digital world. Stepping out into the real world can be intimidating. Let's find ourselves together with joy, love, and connection. Finally, I've popped in a little bio about me. So to help keep this presentation really simple, I built my studio artificially using a website just called Rooms. I took a photo of my studio, but it was just a bit too busy, and then to have the text on top of it. So this is the site. Unfortunately, every single time I go onto it, it seems to be no other way around it. I just can't get it to load past this point. So I'm giving up on it, but it was really easy to use and really simple. So if you can get it to load and you like this sort of vibe, I recommend it. So all that's left is the About Me. So in this About Me page, I've done a little description about me as an artist and a little bit of my experience, and I've just popped it with some photos that accompany the text and what I've written. And then we have the contact page. This just lists my business email for anyone that wants to contact me for any reason. So that's my website. Anyway, back to the woodworking. To finish off this weekend, I just wanted to use my Dremel to sand down and narrow down the teeth of the comb. From here, all I need to do is round each tooth of the comb, refine the final form, and do a final sand. Thanks for following along this weekend. I'm really happy with my progress of the comb and I really can't wait to finish that drawing. I think it's going to be a really good one. Daisy was such a rare and precious find. Luke and I are really wanting to take her home, so let me know if you want to see more of her. I'm sure if we do get to take her home, you will. Don't forget to check out my new website now that it's launched. It's all very exciting. Now I just need to finish making the collection because all of the administration work is pretty much all done. If you want to check out Weekend Diary 2, that's where I go over the ABN and business name and all of that behind the scenes stuff. That's very important, but a little bit more boring. Keep following along if you're interested, and I also have an Instagram for you guys as well that's a little bit more up to date. I'll see you guys next time. Uru.